What up, World? We're 18, back at it again. Welcome to the episode. We all know that sound that adults make in Charlie Brown. No words, no faces, just a trombone mumble that somehow says everything. But why did the creators of Peanuts do that? Was it for laughs or something deeper about childhood itself? So I was just watching Charlie Brown Halloween patch or whatever the fuck that shit is called. It was on Apple TV. And the teacher came on, or one of the adults came on, and they were doing a wah-wah shit. And I was like, why the fuck do they do that? And I've always wondered that. And I just decided I'll do a video on it. So this is the video. I'm going to talk about it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Welcome to A Child's Eye World. Charles M. Schulz created Peanuts as a world entirely from a child's point of view. Adults exist, teachers, parents, but only on the edges. He believes kids live in their own emotional universe, where what grown-ups say doesn't always matter or even make sense. To a kid, adults can sound like background noise, distant, blurred, confused. Schulz wanted that feeling. So instead of adults shaping the story, Peanuts lets kids face life on their own terms. Hope, rejection, fear, and those small victories that feel huge.
I need my blanket! I admit it! Look at all of you! Who among you doesn't have an insecurity? Who among you doesn't depend on someone or something to help you get through the day? Who among you can cast the first stone?
The contrast is why Peanuts feels timeless. It's not about grown-ups teaching lessons. It's about kids living lessons. This is true because if you watch any of those Charlie Brown Snoopy shits, you never really interact with parents that much. It's all about the kids, Snoopy. Parents are rarely seen, and when they are, they're like small parts of the show.
We were playing hangman.
And growing up, I never really noticed that. But then as an adult watching it, I noticed it more. I thought that's actually genius to make a cartoon centered around the kids instead of having adult influence in the show. How the wah-wah was made. That famous wah-wah comes from a trombone. Sound designer Vince Guaraldi's team used a trombone fitted with a plunger mute to mimic adult speech rhythms and without forming words. Every sentence was played musically, not spoken. Jazz musician Dean Hubert handled the job. He mastered the pacing of scripted dialogue. If an adult was supposed to say, sit down in class, he played like wah, 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 wah. It's genius because it turns language into emotion. The exact words don't matter, the feeling does. That's how kids hear adults, tone over content.
Hey everybody, in this video, we're going to talk about the adult's voice in the Charlie Brown Peanuts cartoons. How they did it, they would have real lines. And the trombonist would listen to the real dialogue and then repeat it back and try to mimic it as best as possible on the trombone. You would want to have some dialogue in your brain like, Charlie Brown, how dare you? Or something like
that. That's actually genius. I never knew it was a plunger in a trombone. I thought it was just like somebody doing the sound effects with their mouth. So thinking about it now, that is really innovative for a vocal type thing. As a kid, I never really wanted to know what they were saying for some reason, but as an adult, watching it back, I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? And now, going through my research, you can understand what they're saying. Well, maybe you can understand it when the kids respond, but I think it's just all genius, to put it plain and simple. Storytelling without adults. By muting adults, Schulz gave the kids full control of the story. Charlie Brown takes on disappointment alone.
Nobody sent me a Christmas card today. I almost wish there weren't a holiday season. I know nobody likes me.
Lucy becomes both bully and therapist.
Well, as they say on TV, the mere fact that you realize you need help indicates that you are not too far gone. I think we better pinpoint your fears. If we can find out what you're afraid of, we can label it.
Linus delivers wisdom that feels deeper than most grown-ups.
Did you notice something, Charlie Brown?
What's that?
The world didn't come to an end.
The result? A cartoon that doesn't lecture, it reflects life. Every joke, every heartbreak, every good grief moment. feels more honest because it's from a child's mouth and not a parent's. And because we never clearly see adults, Peanuts stays universal. No hairstyles or slang to date it, just emotion. That's why the scenes still hit 60 years later. 100% true. You can watch any of those Peanuts cartoons, any of those old like themed Peanuts cartoons, like the Halloween, the Christmas and all that shit, and they still hit today because it's not tied to a certain era. Yes, the animation is still of that era, but the stories are still don't feel dated when you watch the show. And that was very smart of them, super smart actually, to have a timeless TV show like that. Even in 2025, people can still watch it and be like, huh, the story is still relevant today. The psychology of wah-wah. There's a deeper psychology here. When you're young, you process the world through emotion first, logic later. The wah-wah represents that gap. Adults speaking logic, kids can't decode yet. It mirrors how kids tune out lectures, hearing only tone, frustration, or comfort, but not the actual words. It's also a creative shield. Without adults explaining everything, the audience feels what the kids feel, uncertain, small, but curious. I think that's one of the reasons why this show resonates so much with younger kids, especially a kid like me watching it, because you feel it from a kid's point of view. You don't have the overtones of adults interrupting many parts of the show. Like I said, the adults come in small areas. You never really know. You never really meet any of the parents. You never meet the teachers. You hear their voices in the background, but the story is still centered around the kids, which is a comfort for a lot of kids, seeing themselves in cartoon form, not having to worry about the parents. Like, I think one of the main reasons why they use the wah-wah is because they want you to focus on the kids and not what the adults are saying. And that's really smart, especially for a kid's cartoon. Kids don't want to hear parents lecture them or whatever. You hear that in real life, and it goes to watch a cartoon where the parents aren't lecturing in words is super smart. Charles Schulz's intent. Schulz once said, "Adults are just there to move the story along. The focus is always on the children." He refused to age the characters or add adult arcs, keeping Peanuts trapped in a cycle of endless loops. That's why we never see their parents' faces, why the teacher's trumpet voice becomes iconic, and why Charlie Brown's world feels both simple and profound. It's minimalism turned into storytelling philosophy, limit the world, deepen the meaning. Very fascinating what he did. Cartoons back in the day was not doing things like this. They weren't smart like this. And for him to think ahead of the curve was astonishing, in my opinion. He knew how kids thunk. Is it think or thunked? Thunk. He knew how kids thunk, and it showed in the cartoon. Like I said, this is one of the reasons why people still love these Peanuts cartoons to the day. And I think they did a couple of remakes throughout the years too, where they updated the animation, but they kept the clothes and stuff the same. So, like I said, Charlie Brown is timeless, still around. Like I said, I saw this shit on Apple, so it still resonates. And he was smart for treating the parents as side characters and not having them take over the show like a lot of the cartoons did at the time. Cultural impact. The wah-wah became so iconic that other shows copied it. The Simpsons, Family Guy, and even South Park have used distorted adult voices as parody or tribute. It's shorthand now. When you want to show the world from a kid's perspective, you use muffled adults. That's Schultz's legacy. You know your show made it when you get parody, especially on popular shows like The Simpsons and Family Guy and even South Park. It's funny because they do it so good and it's so funny. And like I said, that's a legacy of Schulz. When people copy your shit, you know you made it, and it's iconic. You think of adults talking and kids not listening, you put on the muffled adult voice, and I truly like it. The deeper message. By silencing adults, Schulz reminded us what childhood feels like. Everything big, confusing, emotional, and half understood. The wah-wah isn't nonsense. It's the language of growing up. This in authority, you try to translate. Even now, watching as adults, we understand that sound differently. It's not mocking grown-ups, it's honoring what it felt like to be small. Like I've been saying through the whole video, kids think differently, and having that character, those adult characters, not have a real speaking role was big. And like I said, I think that's one of the reasons why this show was so big back in the day, and why it still resonates today. Kids don't want to be lectured, they want to watch a cartoon, and you're not getting any lecturing from these kids. And it's funny when they talk. Like, you hear an adult talk and it's funny, so it makes the show even more enjoyable that you don't have to hear a lecture to the kids. Like when the kids get in trouble, you hear the want, but you really don't know what they're saying, so it's funny even though they're getting scolded. I love that aspect of the show. So next time you hear that want, remember, you're not supposed to understand it, you're supposed to feel it. That's the magic of Charlie Brown. That's gonna do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Truly appreciate it. You keep it on anybody else's channel, and you decided to give me a couple minutes here today, so I truly appreciate it. There's only 24 hours in a day, and you gave me a couple minutes. Thank you. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Hope you liked the video. Check out my other videos. You might find something you like. Have a good one. I'll get at you guys on the next one. You've been watching